Who is it? Who is it? Are we ready? Are we ready? Who is it? Who is it? Are we ready? Are we ready? This is New Orleans.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Alvin. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being in this live. And appreciate y'all for being in the building. Hit the like button, hit the hype button, hit the subscribe button, hit them all, man. Light them up. We up in this thing. Shout out to all the diehards. T-Mama, shout out to the Queen. OG Jerry, shout out to the OG Snake Bite. Brother Wallace is in this thing as well. Good to see each and every last one of y'all for being in the live stream on this one, man. Hit y'all like buttons as we get going, man. And listen, man, the bottom line, what's up, Dr. Gregory? Shout out to you, my brother. Good to see you for being in the stream. St. Doug, how you doing, brother? Brother Phillip, how you doing, sir? Appreciate all y'all, man, for being in the live on this one, man. Listen, Brother Adrian, what's up, man? He said, Q, what's the business, man? Yeah. What's up to you, my man? Appreciate you for being in the stream. Anyway, man, listen, fam. I couldn't go live at the time of the press conference, man, as I like to do, to kind of break down and hear from what the coach heard. But I'm pretty sure all of you guys were able to do that, actually get in there and break it down, and kind of listen to what Coach Kellen was saying in the breakdown, man. And he gave a lot of accolades and positive stuff because he's trying to uplift the team. And we are having interesting development with all these injuries. Now, every year we have injury issues that we look out for, but through 2 preseason games, 1 preseason game remaining, I just find it really fascinating that right now we kind of dealing with all the stuff that we're dealing with. But ultimately, I think the black and gold would be all right, and we just have to adjust, man. That's the great thing about some of this stuff is that you learn to adjust and keep it moving, and that's what it is. So. And this one, man, we got an article from the WhoDatDaily.com. If you guys hadn't had an opportunity to join the Who Dat Daily, the subscribe is for free. You get alerted when any new articles are available. And it's always constant articles coming out on WhoDatDaily.com for the Saints, Pelicans, LSU, boxing. If you're a lover of any of those sports, please feel free to check out the Who Dat Daily. Plus, you are independently lifting up independent media, man. We need independent media to keep the line clear, if you know what I mean. So let's get right into this article, man, and it's talking about all of the injuries that are. What's up, Jay? Shout out to Jay Huntsberry, man. Appreciate y'all for being here. Much love. We'll get it off, man. And this is the thing, man. The Saints welcome in. We sent out, and this happened the other day, Deion Jones, to the 49ers for running back Zamir White. Now, the Saints, really interesting strategy. The Saints needed help at the running back position and the kicker position, and they got 2 Raiders. So we got a pair of Raiders to come here and help the team out, which is fine. But the running back position is getting really down and dirty, if you know what I mean. The Saints did not trade Zamir White because they wanted another luxury piece in a crowded backfield. As the article starts out, with Kamara expected to miss some weeks because of the MCL sprain, Ty Chandler facing an extended absence with a knee injury because Ty Chandler got hurt as well. They made the move because the depth chart changed dramatically in a matter of days. AK-41 expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks because of the sprain. Ty Chandler facing an extended absence with the knee injury. Devin Neal re-aggravated the hamstring, right? Audric Estime sidelined by ankle injury. And the Saints needed available experienced runners before the preseason finale and the final roster cuts. That urgency produced Monday's deal where the Saints acquired San Francisco in exchange for Deion Jones. They were able to get Zamir White. Now, one of the roster moves announced by the Saints also signed two-time All-Pro kicker Daniel Carson and placed cornerback Rajon Wright on the injury reserve. So the most important takeaway is that White arrives because New Orleans can no longer afford to wait for its running back room to get health. So the Saints running back injury report is as follows, right? Is as follows. Alvin Kamara, MCL sprain, has availability for the start of the regular season is in doubt, and the Saints must prepare without him in the short term. Ty Chandler has a knee injury. More indicated he will be down for a while as testing continues. So Chandler injury created the most immediate need for another healthy veteran. Devin Neal, re-aggravated hamstring injury against the Rams, the rookie's timetable. He's drafted. The rookie timetable remains uncertain while the team evaluates setback. Audric Estime had an ankle injury he suffered in the preseason opener, did not travel to Los Angeles, remains unavailable, and cannot currently provide early down depth for the Saints. And Kendre Miller recently back from a back issue. They had a injury report that mentioned, really got into it and talked about Kendre, his presser. He had a presser today. You guys probably seen. I was able to watch Kendre Miller's presser and kind of see what he got going on. He said the spasm in his back was really bad, that he couldn't do what he wanted to do. He couldn't get going and all this kind of stuff. He said that he didn't have any college. He never was hurt in college. I remember Kendre Miller being hurt in college. Maybe he didn't miss any games, but I remember Kendre Miller being hurt in college. Matter of fact, when the Saints drafted him, he was dealing with some type of injury. So I don't know what he's talking about there. But ever since he's been with the Saints, it's been the same old stuff over and over again, is the fact that he's not healthy. He's not healthy, and that's the problem, right? That's the damn problem. So, we'll see. But he's available again, but his injury history makes dependable depth behind him especially important, right? Travis Etienne's healthy. He's going to be the lead guy. That's good news. C.J. Donaldson is healthy depth. He's an opportunity to strengthen his roster case during the final preseason week. He is the most healthy, one of the most healthiest of the reserves. He's an undrafted guy, so he's on the right team. And, of course, Zamir White acquired from the what was it? He was a former Raiders guy, had some experience with the 49ers as well. But, I said two former Raider guys, but at some point they did play. But we get Zamir White from the 49ers and sent our linebacker out there. But he gives the Saints healthy, experienced runner who can immediately compete for carries. Now, the thing about Zamir White, for the family members to know, and I'll put up a chart here momentarily before we get back to the article and expound on the point. If y'all got any questions, please feel free to hit the comment section up, hit the like button as you're coming in. Thank you kindly. All right, so anyway, let me see if I think I got a graphic card for both of these guys. Here it is right here, the Saints' newest additions here. Player profile, top accolades between both those guys. Carlson, you can see right there his player profile and his accolades. You can see multiple Pro Bowler. He was a Pro Bowler there. Scoring co-leader in 20 and 21. He an SEC guy. He was a top guy. Very accurate beyond the 50. Right? Kicking the 50. Big leg, experienced kicker. And this is the move the Saints have made because they can't really play around with it anymore. We had two undrafted kickers. We did the undrafted punter thing for a couple of years. We messed around with Australian punters. They weren't good enough. You sign a punter. He had a few little, questionable punts, but overall, he's been actually booting the ball pretty good. And you see Zamir, nicknamed Zeus. Zeus is his name. Zeus White, 5'11", almost 230 pounds. Very, good size right there, 5'11", 230. Good wiggle. Hits the hole with impact, explodes, can break tackles. Was interesting. 2021 national champion, Georgia rushing leader in 20 and 21. 856 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns in 2021. And he did good when Josh Jacobs got hurt for the Raiders. This guy, Zeus White, stepped in and actually had a pretty admirable, helped them, the running attack stay well for the Raiders. So we're getting a guy that coming in here who should help in a reserve role. So the Saints got a little runner there, and I think the little runner is going to help us out and do pretty good for us. But he gives us an experienced runner. Now, Reuters reported Kamara expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks, just to let some of the family members know. Now, the Rams game produced other health concerns as well. Wide receiver Bub Means, and I'm going to show y'all a graphic on that as well, reportedly left with the hamstring issue, which is he came back, right? We know Bubs came back. Matavo is dealing with some sort of knee issue. We know Torricelli Simpkins had an issue as well. Defensive tackle Brian Taylor suffered a stinger, and defensive back Lorenzen Styles Jr. dealt with some type of calf issue. So a few things that we're dealing with in the banged up category, right? We got to get over here. But this is what Zamir White brings to the New Orleans Saints. White is best known for the 4 seasons with the Raiders. 26 years old, former Georgia standout, 4th-round pick, 2022, appeared in 45 games with 9 starts, produced over 700 yards and 2 touchdowns on over almost 200 carries, along with 25 catches for over 150 yards. And White's most productive stretch came late in 2023 when he showed that he can handle a larger workload. His production declined afterward. He recorded 32 rush yards on 12 attempts, 6 games for Vegas in 2025. Now, the Niners signed White back on August the 12th, but his stay lasted only 2 weeks. The 49ers depth chart made him expendable, and the Saints injury made him valuable. So White is a compact downhill runner who is most comfortable attacking between the tackles. He should not be viewed as a one-for-one replacement for AK-41, receiving ability, or open field creativity. His job is to give more a trustworthy early down option to absorb physical carries and prevent New Orleans from overloading Etienne Jr. or Kendre Miller before the regular season begins, right? The trade also gives coach staff time. White has played meaningful reps in the NFL, understands professional pass protection expectations, and should require less development than a late waiver claim or an inexperienced street free agent, right? So we talked about the cost of doing business with Deion Jones. We just signed Deion Jones. He was a long shot to make it. Bringing him here, and ultimately they see more value in getting Deion Jones and sending him out to get Mr. White. So it was a few things Saints also talked about and announced the move. They announced the Zamir White trade to the 49ers and sending him out there, giving up Deion Jones. They also talked about them signing Daniel Carlson and placing Rajon Wright on the IR. So Carson is another addition. He adds a proven specialist to a competition that has featured undrafted Tanner Brown and Charlie Smith. The former Raiders kicker made 22 of 27 field goal attempts and 21 of 22 extra points last year. Neither Brown nor Smith was announced as waived in the same release, so the immediate result is now a 3-man kicking pitcher unless another transaction follows. Now, that's what it looked like right there. So people were asking, what should we do? How, what we need to do about the kicker situation. When Tanner Brown booted the ball and missed the chip shot, that Kellen Moore was like, oh no, we can't play this game. We got to have solid kicking. Now, we've seen a lot of stuff happen with our special teams this year, to be honest with you. A lot of stuff happened there. In terms of that, was some stuff that was good. The Ty Chandler 86-yard return to start the preseason, that was positive. We've seen a couple of coverage punts and kickoff coverage that were positive. But the not positive is all of the penalties that have occurred in the last 2 preseason games with our preseason. Now, we've seen kicking, good punting. You had the shank for 15-yard, and you had another one Another less impressive punt, but overall, Wright has been kicking right. He's been kicking the ball good. And then there's other things, we have to look out for and see if we can improve on the special teams. But we cannot, even though we might have to work on the kick return and punt return and so far as opening up lanes and returns, to flip the field, to help our offense kind of demoralize the ops early on. Special teams very important in that regard. But we also have to be mindful to understand that we can't play around with kicking. When we we can't mess around with guys, and I think that's an important thing Kellen Moore is trying to fix. So he got a veteran that's pretty accurate behind 50, going against two undrafted kicker. Even though we had Charlie Smith here for the last 2 years, he came over from the international program. Tanner Brown was a UFL kicker, and those guys are kind of giving mixed results in preseason. So this is why you see Carson here. So we'll see how he does. So, welcome to the New Orleans Saints for Daniel Carson and Zamir White. Both of those guys, welcome to the black and gold. So what the running depth chart looks like right now. We showed the chart just a moment ago. If the Saints had to play a meaningful game today, Travis Etienne would be the safest choice to lead the backfield. Kendre Miller and White will provide complementary early down work, while Donaldson will remain a developmental power option. Now, Kamara's return would reshape the rotation, particularly on passing downs. The question is whether Chandler, Neal, or Estime can recover quickly enough to remain a short-term roster equation. With the final cuts approaching, medical information will matter almost as much as their preseason performance. White, therefore, enters with a legitimate opportunity. He does not need to become the centerpiece of the offense. He needs to just learn the protections, run decisively, and prove that the Saints can trust him while four running backs work through their injuries. But even though some of those guys get back, Zamir White could stick around. He could stick around. His running style will work perfectly for what the Saints need. The physical, downhill, one-cut runner like Zamir White would be the right choice for the Saints at this point because, of course, when you get ready to get into regular season action, we want to make sure that we have everything that we need from the running attack so we don't have to put all that pressure on the back of the quarterback because we know that is not a good recipe for winning a damn thing in today's NFL. Amen. So anyway, that's a few things I wanted to go over with you guys on as far as that's concerned. Let me also hit you with some of this right here. And this is the up-to-date injury list. This should show you guys the latest injury. We talked about Devin Neal, Matavo with the knee, expected to miss time. We talked about Rajon Wright on the IR to open up the spot to bring in Carson as well. And, of course, we know once the time comes for them to decide on which kicker to keep, there'll be two spots that could be cleared for it. And perhaps one might be added to waivers. Charlie Smith could be brought back to the practice squad. But, two spots will be open there on the 53-man roster. So that's interesting. They're trying to get that kicker situation worked out. So 20 players absent through effectively was a walkthrough, and those absences are as follow: Alvin Kamara, Cesar Ruiz, Oscar Delp, Christian Miller, Quincy Riley, Trey Palmer, Lorenzo Styles Jr., and Bub Means. So that's a few names right there. Not saying any of these guys are we know about Alvin and the rest. We know Cesar is dealing with an ankle. We know Oscar is a little banged up. Christian Miller is dealing with a shoulder issue. We know what happened with Quincy Riley. A groin situation. Trey Palmer nicked up, and Bub Means left the game, went back. He got, went out, came back in, finished the game. So we show the running backs in green that are healthy. Travis Etienne, Kendre Miller, Audric Estime is not good. He's out of it. C.J. Donaldson and White. So we know what time it is, and you can see some of those guys right there. So it's just at the same time, man, it's very interesting to see how all this is going to work and how it's going to fly, man, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, it simply is what it is. The Saints have to adjust. They have to adjust and move forward on some of this stuff, man. There is no other way around it. They got to adjust and keep it moving. All right, anyway, let's kind of talk about, during the game, the loss there. And a lot of people really don't want too much to talk about the Rams debacle that happened on Saturday with the Saints going down 34-0. At the time, I did a road recap best way I can before I can get back to you guys to talk about it. the debacle that was the second preseason matchup when the Saints go down 34-0 to the Rams was unacceptable. And upon looking at the tape, and I have the all 22 or the Patreon breakdown for you guys coming up tomorrow. It'll be available for you guys for our Patreon and YouTube membership family, and it's a lot. So I mean, a lot of people want to burn it, but you have to spot who was the culprits, who didn't do what and why. So, we kind of look at the quarterback position. We looked at some of the offensive line stuff that was going on. There was no pass rush in the game. And it's just the fact that their backups were better than our backups. Our backups did not come to play, and it's unfortunate. So Kellen Moore has to make the adjustment. We got one remaining preseason game. This is going to be a short week too, fam. A very short week for the Saints because the preseason matchup, the final one against the Dallas Cowboys, is on Friday. So this is a short week of action for the Saints. Where's my card at so I can put that on the screen? Here you go, right here. Road to week 1. Boy, I was telling y'all when I did this card, man, I was breaking it down about California, the West Coast swing and all that kind of stuff. And then we went from that to the Texas trip. And look where we are right now. So, we sitting right there. So we got, we getting into the final couple of weeks here, before we roll into the September the 7th to 13th week, which will be setting up the matchup for the Lions once we go through everything to go through. But anyway, August the 24th through 20, you're looking at the 24th as an install or basically a walkthrough practice after what happened. 25th is the pads and depth evaluation according to the statistics. The 26th is an open practice at Human Stadium, and that's Tulane Stadium. This is what's going to happen this week for the black and gold. Then, of course, the 27th, they travel to Dallas, and then the 28th is the matchup against the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium at 7 p.m. Central Time. Now, the following day, you'll have some medical evaluations, and then August the 30th will be a player off day, and then it switch into the red category, which are the cut downs. August the 31st through September the 6th, you'll see the 31st is roster meetings. September the 1st will be the 53-man countdown from 90, or the cut down rather, from 90 players to 53 players. And then September the 2nd, you'll see the waivers with guys added to the practice squad. The 3rd through the 6th of September is they switch into the regular season mode. And then you go Lions week 7, September the 7th through September the 13th. And it goes from there. September the 7th, week 1st install all the way down to September the 13th when you get ready to hit the road for the first regular season game against the Detroit Lions. So we're almost into the end of it. Like I said, this will be a short week. And like I said, man, this is over the next 7 days is going to show you a lot about the Saints, and they have to kind of evaluate a lot of stuff fast. And that's just the long and short of it. And speaking about evaluations, let's evaluate the quarterback's performances between the two, right? The backup battles, right, as it were, between Spencer Rattler and Zach Wilson, right? The 2026 preseason through 2 games. This will carry on. Now, these is the complete statistics for both quarterbacks thus far into the preseason. Right now, 22 of 34 for Spencer Rattler, just under 65%, 183 yards. He's averaging 5.4 yards per throw. He got a pick 6 on there and 2 turnovers, which was the fumble and the pick 6. Zach Wilson, on the other hand, has 17 of 28 for almost 61%, 200 yards, and he's averaging 7 yards to throw. He has a touchdown and 1 pick and only 1 turnover. So as you can see, the completion percentage is Spencer. But everything else in the stat battle is going toward the way of one Zach Wilson. So as you guys can see, Zach Wilson is leading it overall. He's leading it overall. More yards, TD pass, and then better efficiency, right? Efficiency, even though you see the completion percentage is Spencer Rattler. Higher completed percentage and more volume, but the costly turnovers, the fumble, that I think did the fumble lead to a touchdown for the opposite team, for the Jaguars, and then he had a pick 6, which was egregious. It was a very terrible pick 6 by Spencer Rattler. He snapped. It was I can't call it nothing much but a rookie move, how Spencer Rattler activated, and just snapped the ball and stared down the damn wide receiver. He did not pump fake to the right and throw to the left like you're supposed to freeze the defender. Nope. He hiked the ball, looked at the wide receiver the whole way there, and tried to throw that ball in there. And the defensive back said, this guy got to be crazy to do this. With me sitting here watching him, he said, nope, the guy just not doing what he's supposed to do. And he threw the ball in there. The guy jumped the route and took it to almost 100 yards to the house. Boy, you can't pick a way. You can't pick more of a disastrous way if you're a quarterback playing for the Saints to have 2 preseason games. You know, that's not going to cut it. Now, I know, Zach, I heard what Kellen Moore said that both of them are doing this type of thing and all this kind of old stuff. I hear you on that. Now, it could be very well that, you know, either quarterback could probably make the team of the 53-man roster. Either one of them could possibly make it, but they just jumble up the order. You see what I'm saying? We'll see. This third preseason game will be very telling about the backup quarterback battle, which is probably, I would say, the most important spot we have right now is the kicker battle. Now that you have Daniel Carson stepping in there with Tanner Brown and Charlie Smith, that's the most important because that's a starting position up for grabs. Because the starter, obviously, the starter's over is over the backup, but the backup battle for the quarterback position is uber important between the two. So the Saints could very well keep both quarterbacks, but then jumble the order based upon how the third performance is. So even though Zach Wilson he sitting up there, his interception. I say Spencer's is worse because when interceptions are bad enough, but when you throw a pick six. An interception, pick six, that is the worst a quarterback could do. You can't do any worse than that. But maybe throw multiple pick sixes. That's the only way you beat one pick six is multiple ones. But Zach Wilson, he threw you look at what he did, his interception, and he just threw it to the defender. I see what he was trying to do, but you have to look at where things are. And I don't think you're on no Drew Brees level where you can do anticipatory throws. That never was your strong suit. You need to get better at just reading and seeing who's there and putting the ball ahead of him, or putting it in a spot where only he can get it. That guy just dropped back and just threw the damn ball to the to the guy with the other uniform on. So these quarterbacks got to do a better job, moving forward. It just can't. It is what it is. I mean, I can't sugarcoat it any better than that, man. It's getting down to the get down. All right. So anyway, shout out to you guys. Appreciate you for being alive, man. That's the breakdown I got for you today in terms of the Saints news. Yeah. Also, to talk about the Saints former, and this is something as well I want to talk to you guys about, is that Xavier Harris. Y'all remember Xavier Harris, the big guy from Ole Miss, is going back to college. Guess where he's going, ladies and gentlemen? He's going to LSU. Now, he was with Ole Miss last year. He came on as an undrafted free agent with the Saints, which would explain why people was asking me, Q, why didn't the Saints keep him? I said probably because he probably asked to be released. Sometimes if they don't, the Saints would more than likely have probably end up putting him on the IR or something like that, or save him. They do that from time to time when they see an undrafted guy that gets hurt and there's potentiality with the guy. But the crazy part about it is that Xavier Harris is going to benefit from this rule this year that they have for certain people. This is not something that's going to go on all the time. It's simply something that they're doing this year for a certain class of players they're going from the pros to college. That's never been done before. But nonetheless, it's interesting. It's all right. But at the same time, man, we're going to see how it all is. But it's interesting because man, LSU, and I got to give LSU all the props in the world. Shout out to the Tigers. Shout out to my Tigers. They don't like it. They don't like it. I heard Dan Lannon, the coach of the Oregon Ducks, him running his mouth about, we ain't supposed to go back to college. I said, I wonder how many of these players that Landon get. Did Landon get any of these players? because he wouldn't be running his mouth if one of these guys would have ended up on his team. So as you guys can see on the screen, it's always traditionalists and people that believe it's supposed to go a certain way. But this is a situation where it was a unique situation. I don't anticipate this probably ever happening again, if not for a very long time. Behind the scenes, they're working on fixing the Wild Wild West environment, the NIL situation with the athletes. You best believe right now they're working behind the scenes to probably try to see if they can get a college president who makes rulings on this and that and the third. You know, the powers that be always step up and try to make sure they can fix it for their benefit. That's like having a cap on the players, but not a cap on the owners. The owners can make as much money as they want, but the player, oh no, you hold on now, you can't do it. So it's one of these type of situations. But as you can see on screen, you can see Xavier Harris. Man, Xavier Harris is going back to college. He going back to college, but this time around he going back to college. He ain't going to Ole Miss. He going to LSU, baby. He going to LSU to play for Lane Kiffin. And let me tell you something. This is going to be a great year for the Tigers because they also got another player that was with the Cleveland Browns. Daquan Wright, who was a tight end who was with the Cleveland Browns, right? Who played for Virginia Tech and Ole Miss. Guess where he's going? He's going back to college for the LSU Tigers, baby. So once again, man, when you're a winner, all you know how to do is win. And I'm just happy for the Tigers. Congratulations, because they're getting these players, only a bunch of players, but you got guys. There's 3 of them so far because they got a Hawaiian defensive end that was with Notre Dame. He's elected to go to LSU. You know why? Because big things popping in Death Valley, baby. Let me just tell you something. Anyway, shout out to you guys for being in the screen because I know a lot of people was following to see what was going on or the thought process around what was happening with Xavier Harris, and I just let people know I had to share that with you guys to let you know that Xavier Harris going back to college with the LSU Tigers, baby, and that's what I'm talking about. All right, anyway, big ups to the rest of the fam for being here, man. Any questions or comments, throw them in the chat, and I get to them. Dr. Gregory, shout out to Dr. G. He says, Q, will you do a roster projection before the final preseason game, or will you do it after? I can do either or, my brother. If you want me to do one before, I most certainly will. I'll try to see if I can line one up this week, and see if I can get one in there, roster projection for this week and break it down and try to make it stick, and then see how that roster prediction look, and it could do another one before, they roll theirs out. That's traditionally what a lot of people can do, but I can do either or I can do both, Dr. Ray. So just be looking out for that. Thank you, my brother. All right, Adrian says, nice moves to pick up another running back to pick up, and we must be able to run the ball to open up the passing game. Yes, indeed, fam. We got to do that. We can't have young Tyler Shuck carrying the team. That won't happen, brother. We need the running attack to be there so that we can get into our play action stuff and all other stuff. We need the running game to get into the bag. That's the right. All right, Jackson, we went from gambling with small school kids to picking up injury-prone guys from recent drafts. I mean, it's a gamble. The Saints been winning most of the cases, but now, it's just, and you span the rest of the NFC. We did the NFC South roundtable, and you was able to hear other people's teams dealing with same stuff your team dealing with. You heard what Carolina was doing. I think James, the only one that said this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team wasn't really dealing with a lot of injuries. I think he was the only one. But Carolina's dealing with them. Atlanta dealing with them. So everybody's dealing with them. It's how you deal with them over the rest of the teams that determine how successful you're going to be. You know what I'm saying? All right, Jay Huntsberry says Zamir had a good run. He was part of the reason they let Jacobs leave, but he fell off the face when given the opportunity. This is very true, bro. And that's why I think his role better suits him as a reserve back, like coming there, a change of pace back, sort of short yardage guy, dealt with it properly. So I think I like that, man. All right, Bobby the Space Ghost. What's up, Bobby? Says Zamir, 6 feet tall, 230, 227, and runs 4.4. He's solid. Yeah, I was watching footage of White, and he is definitely that. It's the reason why they call him Zeus, right? Because he bring the thunder. The way he run, he turns, twists. He got a one-cut runner. His style, I ain't going to say it's exactly familiar are similar to Kendre Miller, because Kendre to me got a little bit more wiggle with his style. Because Kendre's has power too. Kendre's what 6 feet 235, something around in that 230, 235. But what Kendre is special is that the fact that he has the innate ability to always fall forward because he has a superpower where he can make you miss. It's always he got an ability where he can downshift and move his feet in a way that shakes defenders where he can climb to the next level. That's one of the biggest gifts that I've seen that Kendre Miller does really well. Kendre Miller does this thing where he can make you miss on the first shift and shake you out your shoes, put a move on you, and get to the next level. And then when he's already shifting forward and the weight's with him, he's strong enough and he gets behind his pads where he can push the pile and force you, 4.5, 5 yards running when he's good. So if we can have White and Miller operating with with Travis Etienne Jr. and of course you're dealing with because that, to be honest with you, all the healthy runners outside of Travis Etienne of the satellite back, he's a guy that he got a multitude of different moves. He got he has a gear where he can get to the next level and he gets open field, he gone. But these other guys, the Kendres, the Zeus Whites, and the CJ Donaldsons, because CJ is more than likely going to make the roster with all these other injuries happening. Those are 3 power guys. So you have one satellite guy who also can have a little power to his game. Not a lot, but he has enough when he needs lower pads. But the rest of those guys all operate with power. So the Saints should be able to move and get behind that thing. So we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be interesting. Jay says Zamir is closer to estimated than anybody else on the roster. Yeah, I guess you could say that. That's a fair comparison. I was looking for more of a bigger name to kind of compare him to, but Audric Estime is not a bad a comparison or a comp at all, bro. Not bad at all. All right, Benny says kicker just have to do their job, so it's frustrating when they don't keep. Yeah, you're right, Benny. You're right, bro. That's why when Tanner Brown missed that chip shot, that brought down that, and plus how they played. Because when they send you in there, just look, man, just kick the field goal, and we don't want to get blanked. Just send the guy in there so we don't get a 0. He sends him in there, he misses the chip shot, and that was like it was compounded because of how the team played. It perfectly ended a perfectly miserable and disagreeable way to play football. I mean, you had funk and stink on all 3 areas of the team. That would prompted me to think about that Jim Mora, the Jim Mora thing. When Jim Mora came out, I said, that's the. I said to myself, I gotta keep that on tap, man. I said I gotta keep that on tap. I'm gonna have to look at that, man, and keep that on tap, man, because because when you think about it, like, man, I said, where's Jim Mora when you need him? Where's Jim Mora at when you need him? So when Jim Mora, y'all know what happened when Jim Mora get on that first of all we got, man. We couldn't do diddly pool. We did, that sort of thing. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm like, I got all this other stuff with Umar and all that foolishness. I'm gonna keep Coach Mora on tap. So when we have a game like that, I'm gonna say, hey y'all, we're sending the game, we're about to go to the press conference. Here's the coach, and then we're gonna play Jim Mora. I'm hoping we don't ever see that kind of performance for the team. But Coach Mora comes on out. First of all, we couldn't do nothing. Nobody. The funny part about it is, he just walked. He just walked out and started going off. You notice the reporters didn't ask him anything. He did. He just came out and just started going off. First of all, we couldn't do diddly pool squat, and we up. So yeah, man. Yeah, that was a good one, man. So yeah, we couldn't throw the ball, we couldn't pass the ball, we sucked. Hold on, here it is right here. Hold on, fam. I got to play it for you because it's Jamar. He comes up pulling his pants up. He comes up, he pulling his pants up, and then he immediately gets right to business. Hold on, fam. Hold on. Let me make sure I get it for y'all so y'all can hear. Hold on, just yeah, you can see Jamar. He did a lot of these, man. That was hilarious. Now, of course, at the time, it wasn't hilarious. It stunk. But it now going back to it in history, it was funny. So anyway, let me see if y'all can hear this, man. Y'all put one in the chat. Y'all should be able to hear this. This one should have played at the end of the game.
Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked. Or the second half, we just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked.
All right, that's the great Jim Moore. You know you about to get it when you come. He come walking out like that, holding up his pants. Look. Yeah, man, and listen, I shouldn't want to keep that on tap, but man, listen, that's what it reminded me of watching the New Orleans Saints play, man. I was like, you know what? You are absolutely right, Coach Moore. It was like Coach Moore came back through the press conference. That was funny, man. The game wasn't funny, but that was funny. All right, big ups to y'all guys, man. All right, Adrian says, I'm worried about our linebackers this year. Okay, shout out to Adrian. Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm saying I'm worried about them right now. Now, you do lose Deion. Deion goes to the Niners, but we needed that running back. So, Caden Ellis, Pete Werner. Right now, the linebacker position is not dealing with any injuries. We know Jalen Ford and Isaiah Stallbird are young, interesting special teams linebackers that show potential, right? They show glimpses. Caden Ellis is getting paid to be the starter, step in where Double D was. Pete Werner is still there. Danny Stutzman has been having a solid camp. So I'm not that worried. That concern is not high on my list, but I see what you're saying. But right now, it's so much other stuff going on with the Saints, man, that is kind of grabbing at our attention, if you know what I mean. Youngblood 46 says, Q, I believe that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still a free agent, and I'm surprised the Saints didn't contact him before contacting him since he was on the team last. Yeah, I don't get that. But sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes guys, Coach Kellen, when he's looking for speed, like, you know what? I like how this guy runs. Let me see if I can get him. So sometimes you might not be able to get the guy you want, or maybe there might be another guy that's better for you. I can understand them getting Zeus White because his running style fits the Saints what they want to do. They want to be a mean running team, like a vertical team, but be able to spread you out defensively. That's what it is. Have weapons everywhere, spread out defenders, spread out the defense, create lanes and openings and holes within the defense where the quarterback can find his tight ends, where he can find his space runners, he can find or go up down the field to hit the vertical target. So having a wide open offensive attack benefits so many players with the skill sets that a lot of our players have. And when you have a wide open, a spread offense and the defense spread wide open, you can draw that ball to Zeus White. He hit that hole, and you won't see him until he get to the defensive back level. So it's interesting. But, yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire would have been a nice addition. I don't know why they didn't go back to it. Yeah, that's right, T-Mama. Shout out to T-Mama. A lot better. Yeah, Hemisphere says, Kellen Moore said today the focus was more on 3 joint practices. The game was nothing to them just to lay down, the beat down. I don't know if do you believe that? Y'all believe that? What's up, Debbie? Good evening, Debbie. Shout out to Debbie. Do y'all believe that? Do you believe that, Hemisphere? I heard what he said at rejoin practice. He wanted to get the work in, but I don't know no coach that, even though he said in a prior one, and I don't know which one you're referring to today or the prior one, but the one I remember listening to after the game was over with, Kellen Moore basically said that that he was challenging his team. He was challenging them. Like, we're going to have these 2 tough scrimmages because they couldn't do. See, the thing about it is they wanted to get the scrimmages in, but they couldn't get it in the 3rd week in this upcoming week because it's a short week. So he couldn't get it. So he did it in last week against the Cowboys and against he got the Cowboys and the Rams. Now, the thing about it is you have the starters. Most of the reps in both scrimmages went to the starters. Now, you did get some work with the backups, but it was about the starters, right? And this sort of stuff. Them getting it because they're not going to play in any of these preseason games. You know, I told y'all that. The first game, the second game, I said they might not. I don't think they play in the 3rd game. It's going to be a backup through and through because they're going to really evaluate these backups in these full preseason games. We're not going to see the starters, the ones at all in the preseason. You see the scrimmages, all this kind of stuff, because he's trying to get installation in. Like what he did with the Jaguars game, a scrimmage, excuse me, to practice 2 hours of work all around. Installation. If you're doing that, you got installation going on. It's not a way like you having a preseason game where you got organized ball going on. There's cameras from different angles that's catching everything. That's not going on at practice. Now, they might have a practice camera there for one team versus the other, all this kind of stuff, but he's doing certain things in the scrimmage to kind of have some installation going on. There has to be installation going on in these practice sessions with these other teams because outside of just our traditional practices and organized setup, it has to be installation because he's not doing it in the preseason games where it's supposed to be done. Now, I'm not saying he's wrong for doing it like this, but we'll see if it bears fruit. It's a very interesting concept because he's attempting to not get hot guys hurt in preseason games because the scrimmages are touch. You're not allowed to tackle. So a lot of people agree to this, but, you know, it simply is what it is. But I don't believe that at all. Not saying that what you're saying is untrue, but me personally, if a coach wants to win, right, and you're a coach, if you guys are coaches and you have a team, whether it's park ball, college, whatever, and you have guys that practicing and they're scrimmaging against other teams, you want to have a successful scrimmage. You want to get installation done. And then when the preseason game roll around, you want to try to have an outing. Even if you might not win that game, you still want to show that you were competitive in the game. That type of loss showed no competitiveness at all. It showed a team that did not come to play. It showed a team that was dumb. They had over 12 penalties. They had 12 penalties for almost 100 yards. You had a bunch of missed tackles. You had some drops. You had blown coverage. You had all kind of stuff going on. You had everything that you could want that was negative about football. You had it in the Saints game. You even had an opportunity to not get blanked and at least get a field goal, and a guy misses a chip shot. You had it all. So when that happens, you got to take that seriously. Like, I can understand you saying, okay, we just had, offensively speaking, we just, we did good. Defensively, all right, special teams stunk. That type of thing. But when everybody stinks at the same time, that's something. That's something that, hold on now. You're not all supposed to stink at the same time to the point where you don't look like you showed up at all. But if you're going to have that type of performance, it's best to have it in the preseason as opposed to you have it in the regular season, with it showing you incredible problems that might be surfacing, that just might be right below the surface. That's surfacing is what I'm trying to say here. So he has to look at that because the Saints are exhibiting bad qualities of being an undisciplined team. 12 penalties in one game is not how you do it. Multiple turnovers, Ty Chandler fumbling the ball at the goal line, multiple interceptions, 1 pick six, just doing dumb stuff that's, it's just terrible. Then you had a lot of the fight with the Cowboys where the team gets fined for $500,000. And I'm saying to myself, I hope this is just an isolated situation, but you don't want to have an undisciplined team that's hot-headed, right? You want to make sure these guys are in control. They know what they need to do to handle business. But like I said before in that last game, the good news is it wasn't your ones. The bad news is you might need backups for your backups. Your twos, the good news of the game was it wasn't your ones, and the bad news is your twos. You might need twos for your twos. So we that's how I see it, man. But the tape shows a lot. Yeah, but I don't know if I buy that about him saying, oh, it's this, that, and the third. Yeah, he trying to downplay it a bit, but you better fix those discipline problems. The Saints showing some undisciplined stuff right now, man. Adrian says, Q, I think the players are taking the personality of the head coach, not effing around. He says, not effing good. I need to see dogs on offense, then defense. Okay, good. Yeah, but I don't think Kellen Moore's, Kellen Moore's not, people are trying to, I don't know if, I'm not saying you, but I've heard the talking point that Kellen Moore is soft. Because you see, Kellen gets up there, he don't point, he doesn't get a red face like Schottenheimer or Parcells. He don't throw you on the bus like Dennis Allen did his team. Kellen Moore is pretty much as balanced as you see. I don't think I ever seen Kellen Moore lose his attitude. I'm pretty sure he does, but I have not seen him do it. Have you guys? I haven't seen him. Tyler Shuck mentioned that. He says he's as middle of the pack as you can get. Like he'll tell you, and this, you ain't supposed to do that, Tyler. You wasn't supposed to throw that ball there. You might That's how he coaches. And we've had other coaches before that were coaches that were not yellers or that kind of stuff. Tony Dungy immediately comes to mind as one of these coaches that's, I don't know if you say Kellen's a player coach. Some people would say yes. But he's also a guy that lets you know, hey, man, we're not going to tolerate nothing. He don't have to yell and point in your face and threaten you if he got power of the head coach. He can just elect to not make you be on the team no more. He could just take your reps away. So he don't have to point and yell and all this kind of stuff. I don't see Kellen as a soft coach. I don't see the Saints as a soft team. I see the Saints right now as an undisciplined team. That's what I see. When somebody have 12 penalties in one game and you're fumbling and interceptions everywhere, that's a part of not being disciplined and sticking to what you know to do. So he would have to gather their attention. So like I said, we got to allow him to adjust and see what he do on his short week and see what kind of coach. That's when the coaching is, when you look at this and you go from there. You get what I'm coming from? All right. Yeah, what Joe Milton rumors? Joe Milton, I don't know Benny Sanders, Joe Milton. He had a 3-touchdown performance last game. I think it was against who the Cowboys played, the Cardinals. And he threw for 3 touchdowns. That ball was throwing deep balls, but Joe Milton was a guy with that kind of arm. When he was in college, we know Joe Milton was throwing 60-yard bombs to people. He just wasn't accurate. That's the whole thing with Joe Milton. He can throw that damn thing. He got a cannon for an arm. He just wasn't accurate, and that's what they were trying to make Milton to do, is get more accurate. But the Cowboys did it, and they got guys that can go out there and get it. So for a vertical attack with guys that like to run, Milton just throw that ball out there, and guys just go run. That's the simplest form of football you can have. Is a quarterback with a big arm, throw it down the field, running back runs right up under it for a touchdown. So, yeah, 3 touchdowns for Milton. He was cutting up in there, man. He was cutting it up. But I don't know if you're going to try to trade for him. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't hear trade stuff like that, all this kind of stuff. Oh, they're going to trade Spencer or Zach Wilson. I don't see it as that. I think Zach Wilson, more than likely, him and Spencer Rattler will remain on the team. You just might have a jumbling of the depth chart as far as the backups if Spencer Rattler doesn't have a better game. He got to step it up. He got to step this thing up, man, because he kind of looking kind of raggedy right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? He looking kind of raggedy. All right, Clint, what's up? Clint says, doesn't Hilaire have some emotional issues, maybe anxiety or depression? I'm not sure on that, my boy. I'm not sure on that. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure on that, my man. Yeah, what's up, Tasha? Shout out to Tasha, man. Good to see Tasha in the chat as well. Much love. Appreciate you, T-Mama. Who that nation said? Then you got Chase dancing at practice. Hey, what's wrong with dancing, bro? But see, the thing is, I know that I'm looking at my backups, right? I know that, but the game was to evaluate where the backups are according to where your starters are. So what you're seeing is you're seeing your backups, how much of a disparity between the talent level is. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Or is it way up here? How is it? How is it? Is it the Mariana Trench? Is it the Grand Canyon? Is it the Niagara Falls? You know, is it a jump off the Crescent City connection? I mean, how big is the disparity in talent from starters to backups? That's the question. Where is that? And that's what you're seeing right now in terms of what we have. So if the questions are being asked, because you heard Will Sherman today, Will Sherman was on the mic and he was explaining, what he's doing, him being here, and guys, the reporters asking about what position he played and all this kind of stuff. But like I said, if you have an ankle issues with Cesar Ruiz right now, and Sherman's and Jeremiah Wright had a little bump and bruise, like I said, we talked about trades are happening. This ain't the end of it. Between now and the start of the regular season, there are going to be trades and claims off the waiver wire for the Saints. So yeah, things could change a lot here, man. Just keeping it all the way real with you. All right. Yeah, this ain't the end of it. All right. Yeah, it's Tasha talking about y'all start. Yeah, you know what, Tasha? Maybe we did. And that's the thing. Like, I get some pushing and I don't get the the guy suplexed them. And the thing is like, okay, that hurts our team. Okay, you showing that you missed the big and bad, right? You're not going to be pushed around. But what you're doing is you're hurting the team, because now the installation that we were trying to get in the scrimmage, because that's why it hurts the ones. Because like I said, the ones are not playing they practicing behind the scenes, but you would like to see them in organized preseason games or in an environment close to a regular season game. That's the whole point. The point is to try to get an environment as close to the atmosphere of a regular season NFL game. And the closest you can get there in many ways could be is in preseason action. But we're not seeing the starters because the starters are getting that same work in the scrimmages. So when we got good working with the Rams and the Jags, the Cowboys was a mixed bag because the Saints couldn't complete it because of all of the foolishness that were going on with the multiple pushes and shoving. And it wasn't just undrafted guys. It was other guys. Eric McCoy ripping the helmet off and doing the Kyle Turley with it. And I'm saying if anybody that was on the New Orleans Saints that I would pick and say, hey, man, that guy right there, he's not going to lose his head. He's just going to let people going to jaw jack at him. He ain't going to. Eric McCoy told the dude helmet off and did a two-hand toss. I wouldn't have paid real money to guess that was going to happen. Let me put it to you like that. All right, big ups, y'all. Yeah, you can't do that, man. You can't do that. McCoy is the most senior. He is the most calm and level-headed Saint guy you can have, and he was tearing off helmets. He ripped the man helmet off, and he ain't do a one-hand toss. He did one of these jokers. He was throwing out a pot of old beans movement, on that. I'm almost here. Q, I need gifts and gifts for my school. All right, thank you, Ma. Appreciate it.
Donations. Gifts. More gifts.
See, and that's unnatural. You know, that's not what you're supposed to do. That's why I clipped it and put it there. You know, because that you don't get up there and brag about people sending you stuff. That's a blessing. You don't do that. Maybe that's why you're having so many problems right now. You know, 'cause I know he ain't playing it straight already. A shout out to you, Marley, my old member for 70 months, as Umar would say. Clint says, Q, Hilaire had issues with PTSD. Maybe that's why he was okay. Thank you, Clint. I didn't know that, brother. That got past me. Brother Byron, what's up, Brother Byron? Says, Q, I would rather see the starter final preseason game on Friday, but guess probably remind backups instead. Yeah, it's going to be the backups, bro. We'll see, bro. Maybe he'll have the starters in there for a drive because they don't have any scrimmages set up, but it's a short week. And ideally, and just to throw this out there, sometimes you might get some of that work too. You might get a drive in there because the coach realizes that they're not going to be, get an opportunity to see an environment like this, an organized environment like this until the second week of September, right? Because the Saints, we don't play anybody the first week of September. We play the Detroit Lions on the 13th. So after this preseason game, the next time there's organized action will be outside of just practices. It will be September the 13th in Detroit's building. So that might get the coach to say, we're not going to have organized something like this for the next 2 weeks. We need to just go ahead on and get them out there for a series or two. We'll see how Kellen Moore handles that. We'll see. We shall see. We'll see. T Mama said, yeah, Kyle Turley been hurt and everything. Yeah. Is he? Kyle Turley and Jeremy Shockey, those two guys have the same spirit. Like they must be like, because they got a very free spirit. You know what I mean? These guys, you're not gonna mess with Shock. You're not gonna mess with Turley. Those guys with the long hair and they won't play with you. So yeah, Kyle Turley ripped the helmet off. Eric McCoy did it. He got away with it. He got away with it. He didn't get a fine. They fined the team as a whole. So Gail had to come up with that. You heard me? She had to come up with that money. Jerry Jones wasn't happy about it. Jerry said, why the hell, Jerry had to pay the $500,000. He wasn't happy about it. But he said, listen, I'll pay the money, but man, they should have been on the players, but not because it would have took a lot of time for them to pick out each player to put and say who did this and have to cipher through it. So what they did, they just look, man, that's preseason action. I mean, it's a scrimmage. Hey, Eric, $500,000 for you, $500,000 for you. Gail ain't say nothing, but she just cut the check. Jerry Jones had to cut the check. He wanted his players to pay. I ain't mad at him. That's accountability. When they come out their pocket, they'll act better. All right, shout out to Tasha. Ready for another year of trash talking. Cowboys action is going to be interesting, man. We're going to see. I might have a preview of a Cowboy matchup coming up this week. We'll see. All right, thank you, Tasha.
Donations. Gifts. More gifts.
All right, shout out to you. All right, and Byron says, Q, who's gonna be the number 3 running back outside of A-Chain? Kendre Miller. Estime is not gonna be there. He's hurt since AK-41 injuries. Ty Chandler also hurt. Well, the way I got it broken, let me see if I can, because I think I still got the chart right here. As you can see right here, this kind of answers your question right here, Brother Byron. If you could take a look at the chart, sir. You can see Alvin's out, Ty Chandler's out, so you can see that Devin Neal's out, Audric Estime is out. That's 4 running backs. That's out. So all you got left is Travis Etienne as the starter. Then there's going to be Kendre Miller. Then there's going to be Zamir White, actually Zeus White and C.J. Donaldson. So these will be your 4 running backs the Saints take into the to the start of the season. of course, Travis Etienne is going to be the top guy. Kendre Miller is going to be there as the second guy because he has more familiarity with the system. C.J. Donaldson is an undrafted running back, so he just been here since the Saints picked him up. And in the offseason, Zamir White still got to learn the game. So, they're going to kind of give him what they can give him. But the two top guys, this is the order I see right here, Travis Etienne, Kendre Miller. Eventually, Zamir White Zeus White, because of his reps and how long he's been in the NFL, they're going to trust that C.J. Donaldson in the mix. So that's what I think it'll be right there, my brother. So will they actually try to see if they might actually go into free agency and pick up some other people? I'm not certain on that. I think they're good right there. Now, there are other injuries as well to kind of talk about, to go on, which we could talk about that they're not talking about. We still have so much, but there's still other things to kind of look at. Let me see if I can pull up. Hold on, fam. Let me see if I can pull up my depth chart right here, and I'll do this last thing before we get up out of here. So if y'all have any questions before we leave, y'all throw them in the chat. Let me get this set up with this projection right here and look at. Hold on here. Let me get this on screen here for the fam. I'm going to show the depth chart for the Saints here. All right, let me share it. There it is. All right, so as you can see, the Saints roster right here, and you can see quite a few. We mentioned the 4 running backs. I think they'll keep them if they stay healthy. Those guys will be there. Then you get down to the wide receivers, who the Saints could keep 5 guys now. Obviously, we know that Jordan Tyson's going to be out for multiple months, or at least 2 months, according to reports. Divine Vele is there. So you're looking at, and we'll go back to the depth chart in a minute, but you're looking at quite a few things here because, as you can see, you're looking at Olave, Vele, either Barrion Brown or Bryce Lance as wide receivers, and the 5th wide receiver, perhaps Bub Means. Kevin Austin Jr. is right there. We've seen in practice. We've seen plays from making plays of Ronnie Bell. We've seen Jalen Marino Cropper make a few plays here or there. Trey Palmer is trying to make his way into it. And even though we like the suplex by Brock Reichsteiner, he doesn't really help you because if he makes the team, he's going to be suspended for the first 6 weeks of the season. So Reichsteiner is out as far as I'm concerned. I don't even count him because as soon as the regular season started, he's suspended for 6 weeks. But Mason Tipton's still on the team. Where is he in his development of coming back? So we better from a wide receiver standpoint. Remember, the Saints also brung in guys like Chase Claypool and Josh Reynolds and looked at them. Didn't sign none of them, just looked at them. But maybe they're trying to do the due diligence on one of these wide receivers. They see a couple of these wide receivers as potential step-up guys. You go to the tight end situation. We mentioned the fact that Oscar Delp got bumped up. Matavo got bumped up. So you still have Juwan Johnson. You got Noah Fant. You still have Zaire Mitchell-Payton. Trayton Welch is still there. And Cody Hardy. But those 4 guys, if Oscar can't go in the first week, Juwan Johnson's number 1, Noah Fant's number 2, Zaire Mitchell-Payton was hit with us last year, and Trayton Welch, to me, is a solid tight end. Trayton Welch, he might not be the best blocker in the world, but Trayton Welch catches passes. They can't get around that. Trayton Welch catches passes. He's a good pass-catching tight end. He need to work on his blocking, but he has good size as well. He's about 6'4", 240 pounds. Got to work on his blocking, but he can catch the hell out of some passes, and he ain't very fast. But Trayton Welch is there. So if they have issues with the tight ends, then, you got a good room there. My concerns rather kind of get into where we are when we get to the offensive line. When we lost Dylan Radunz, a lot of people was like, he wasn't all that. But no, Dylan Radunz was the Saints' swing lineman. He was their top swing lineman, which means the 6th offensive lineman coming off the bench. With that missing, who's the guy? Who's going to be the guy? Jeremiah Wright's still learning. Torrey Simpkins is still learning. Will Sherman is only in his 3rd year. So he plays like a veteran, but Will Sherman is only in his 3rd year. And then you've seen guys that didn't have a good performance We seen Alex Wolschlager, he get in there, that big 6'7" tackle, number 79. He got in there. He ain't look all that good. Barry Wesley has been getting a lot of reps. He ain't been looking good. Barry Wesley getting beat like he stole something. So you got Easton Kilty and all these other guys, but none of these guys, Alan Haran, none of these other offensive linemen, Xavier Truss, none of them are stepping up and stepping out on film where I'm like, okay, they doing their thing. I'm not seeing a lot. Now, Torrey Simpkins overall has done a good job. But will I actually trust him with the backup center position? Absolutely not. Not at this interval of time. I will not trust Torrey Simpkins III with the backup center position. Hence why I see why Kellen Moore is working Ruiz as the second string center if McCoy has an issue, God forbid that he does. We need him to be healthy as well because he adds to the overall IQ of the Saints offensive line. So hopefully that didn't happen. But Cesar Ruiz is dealing with an ankle issue. So there's some slippage there in the Saints backup. Now, I like Jeremiah Wright, he's raw. Will Sherman did a good job, but outside of that, Akeem Richards is okay. But outside of that, it's not really a lot to talk about. Now, Torrey Simpkins is, more good than bad. So I'm going to throw him in there as a positive. But I wouldn't trust him with the backup center position. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. But, time will tell, man. We'll look. So there's some issues with the backup offensive lineman that I think that needs to be resolved, and we'll see if Coach Kellen does anything with that. Now, in terms of the defense, when we go to the defense, we've seen Fadil Diggs did well in the Jaguars game. The Saints didn't even have a sack in this last game. I mean, they had 0 pass rush, and they just folded. So the great things we've seen from Fadil, Michael Heldman, Garrett Nelson, they just disappeared. Right? They just disappeared, which means the pressure is going to be on the starters like it usually is. But when you get reserve guys, who's going to be those guys? We still need the guys like Tyree Wilson and all these guys to step up and show out. The pass rush is important. We need the pass rush to be there. We still don't know what the word is on Cam. We'll see what he's looking like. He's been out for this entire preseason. So we'll see what it looks like for Killer Cam on the opposite side of it when we get close to the regular season. But they had some positives with those guys in week 1, week 2. It was a bad week. Can they rebound in week 3? That's the thing. Can it just be like we had an off week, watch this in week 3? Because they'll have an opportunity. But then the interior position is like they got ran on in those games, which I don't like that. I don't like how they got ran on in the Rams game. I ain't like the prior game they got ran on. So I didn't like that from the backups to come in and get ran on like they did. So we'll see what that looks like as well. Because we know that Christian Miller, the second-round pick, dealing with shoulder. He had a toe. Now he got a shoulder. Now he got a shoulder again. So it's, and it's interesting because Vernon Brockton, we know Vernon Brockton's there. We know Devine Gacho. How's he looking? Remember, he had an ankle issue as well. John Ridgway got something that he dealing with. So we got a couple of guys right now on defense, on the defensive line, that we need to watch out for, and hopefully these men get back to doing business. Now, in the linebacker room, like I talked about, we mentioned the linebacker room. We talked about Caden Ellis, Jalen Ford, Deion Jones get traded. But Jackson Sermon has some positive play in the Jaguars game. He has some positive moments in practices. But is he ready to be that guy? He's like probably the linebacker that's like at the bottom of that rotation. We still don't know what Anthony Jennings is going to do. He's like the 7th-year veteran that comes to kind of solidify the things. The Saints like him. What is Anthony Jennings? What is Jennings going to be to the Saints defense? And, of course, secondary-wise, they got a couple of guys that's kind of banged up. We don't know what they dealing with here. A few guys banged up. Rajon Wright is on the IR list. We know that Styles has an injury as well, and a few others. But outside of that, man, Quincy Riley got a groin issue. So we're going to see, man. We're going to see how it all goes moving forward, man. But the bottom line is you got to adjust and move, and the Saints got to keep adding talent to the team to keep them strong. So if anything you ask me about issues or things I'm thinking about, it's the backup offensive line position. But it's the depth is very severe, or the disparity between talent between the starters and the backups are a great divide, right? It's and usually it is, but it depends on how far. Like some might be here, some might be here, and others might be here. The Saints, it appear that they're that wide, the disparity in talent between from the starters to the backups. That could be problematic. What's up, Ross? Shout out to Ross for being here. Bullet Family Travel Vlog. Shout out to you, fam. As well, Desi. What's up, Desi? Shout out to you. She says, well, they aren't playing any starters in preseason, nor is Kellen calling the plays. This is true, but you still have to have execution. This is true. You still have to have execution. All right. So, you know, that's what they're reading on tape, regardless of whoever's calling the plays, right? You got to remember, whatever they're calling is concepts that were agreed upon by the head coach and the offensive coordinator in combination with the head coach. You got a head coach that is a former quarterback. So you had two former quarterbacks in Kellen and in Doug Nussmeier, who's operating with the team. Those guys, whatever he's doing, it is with the head shake of Kellen Moore saying, we can do that. Oh, change it to this, do it like this. But whoever's making the calls, whether it's offense or defense, is with the blessing of the head coach and the coordinator on defense, right? So whoever's calling it really don't matter. They have to execute regardless of who called it. They have to execute. That's a part of it. That's all they can do in preseason is if they call the play, guys got to execute the play successfully. Guys got to tackle on time. Guys got to catch the ball. Guys got to block. Guys got to get off and get after people for sacks and create pressure. Guys got to get interceptions. Guys got to get past deflections. Guys got to hit field goals. Guys got to punt the ball inside the 20. Guys got to flip the field special teams wise, whether you punt return, kick return, force fumbles, turnovers, all that's an additive to help you get on the team. So, you know, regardless of what's happening now, whoever I could be calling the plays. We got Big Q, the head coach, and we got Desi, the defensive coordinator. Desi said, listen, I'm going to let T Mama, who's the co-defensive coordinator, call the plays. Whatever T Mama called, them players got to execute. And if they don't execute them plays, they're going to be some problems. You heard me? So, yeah, that's what it is, man, at the end of the day. You get what I'm saying? All right, Dr. Grace says Estime came back today and looks healthy. Oh, did he? See, that one got past me. I missed that one there. Hold on here. Let me check on that, man. See, that got past me, man. Because I was looking at Audric Estime the other day and news on his report. So that's good. That's positive news right there, if that's indeed the case there. Right there. I want to say, didn't Kellen mention that? Didn't he mention that? That he came back today? Hold on here. Just give me just a second, fam. Let me make sure. Okay, yes, he did. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Who said that? Let me give Dr. Gray. Dr. Gray knew because Dr. Gray passed him on the practice. Dr. Gray with inside game. Dr. Gray said, yeah, he made it back you because Dr. Gray checked him in. Dr. Gray said, hey, man, you good to go. Get out there. They need you. Yeah, he said he missed roughly a week of training camp after suffering an ankle foot injury during the Saints preseason against Jacksonville. Although it was initial fears that the injury might linger to regular season, participated in Monday's walkthrough and indicated he had avoided a serious setback and is back on track. This is good. I missed this one. He returned. Okay, good. Thank you, Dr. Gray. Dr. Gray checked him out, gave him the thumbs up. Okay, thank you, Elda. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Byron. Okay, yeah, that one. I missed that one. All right. Thank y'all, man. See, y'all keeping Big Q up on the game. You know, sometimes one or two of them might get past me, man, but I get the majority of them, man. But hey, man, what's up? Shout out to you. What's up, Kev? Shout out to GM Kev in the building, man. All right, tight. Chandler's the one with the knee injury that may be serious. There you go. Yeah, but that's good though. That's good though. If Audric Estime is back, hold on, let me recycle that dude, because if that's the case, hold on here, let me fix that, because Byron asked me, he said, Q, what would it look like? What would be those backs? Well, if that's the case, hell, that changes the dynamic gratefully, because the way Audric Estime was playing this preseason and training camp, he was on pace to be the Saints' third running back. If he's healthy without any lingering effects, then that puts the Saints running back room back in prime real estate, if you ask me, if you know what I mean. Travis Etienne, Alvin's out, don't matter. Travis Etienne there, Kendre Miller's healthy. If Audric Estime is healthy, he's back on par. He might very well leap Kendre Miller because of the reps. Zeus White steps in, he can help, and that might put C.J. Donaldson out on the practice squad if that's the case. But the Saints go into the season with those four, and of course, as guys start coming back, you'll see the Saints suggest. But indeed, man, that to me, I would Travis Etienne number one. I would put if Audric Estime is healthy, I would put him as the second guy. I would put him because he was lighting it up for him. He was getting the reps. He was doing good in training camp and in practice. In the scrimmage games, he was doing okay. So to me, he was picking it up. It was like a carryover from last year into this year. So I would go with Audric Estime as the second guy, Kendre Miller the third guy, because Kendre, even though he's working his way into the final year of his contract, he played 20 games over the span of the time he's been here, so he missed a lot of reps. And usually the coaching staff is not trusting in you if that is indeed the case. So, man, listen, that's a big positive for the Saints running attack if Audric Estime is back there, man. That's what I'm talking about. That'll work. Dr. Gray said that's what I was meaning about the roster. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Dr. Gray. Dr. Gray. We all work together. That's right. See, the truth is Dr. Gray already checked them out. He said, hey, man, listen, man, you good to go, man. Go on out there, man. You know they need you on the damn team. All right, yeah. Okay, that's what you mean by the projection? Yeah. I put Audric Estime at number 2 with everything we're dealing with. If it's Travis Etienne at 1, Alvin's out, Devin Neal's out, Audric is number 2 to me. He's number 2 in there. Kendre is 3rd. Zeus White is 4th. And C.J. Donaldson is obviously the back of the end of it. And why would I put him last? Because Zeus White, you gave up something to get him. So and then White is a running back with a lot of reps. He just needs time to acclimate into the system. But yeah, that's big. If Audric Estime is healthy and not having any lingering effects, Audric Estime is the number 2 guy, man. He knows his offense, and he works well there, man. I like Audric Estime behind that offensive line. So there you go. Had to kind of adjust that. All right. I'm glad we got that straight, fam. I'm glad we got that straight. All right. Anyway, let me see anything else here. But yeah, that's what I got for y'all today, fam. I appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, Byron said Kendre Miller will be 3rd back. C.J. Donaldson gets last. Yeah, you got Travis Etienne, Audric Estime, Kendre Miller, Zeus White, and Donaldson, C.J. Donaldson. To me, that's 5 backs right there. He would be the last guy. They wouldn't keep 5. I think they'll keep 4. And then ultimately when guys like Alvin work back, then you might see them change and shift because it looked like Devin Neal might be out for a minute. Alvin's going to be out for at least a month. So we'll see how they work back. But if that's the case, we got guys that are more north-south runners than anything. So that's a positive in my book, if you think about it. All right, anyway, fam, like I said, let me do this again right here with the fam here. This is the backup battle currently with Spencer Rattler versus Zach Wilson. These are the numbers through 2 preseason games, as you can see, for it. And the bulk of the backup battles being won by Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, passing yards, 200 versus Spencer's 183. You can see the yards attempt averaging over 7 yards a throw versus Spencer Rattler 5.4. 1 touchdown versus a pick and 1 turnover. Spencer's 5.4 yards per throw and a pick 6 interception. 2 turnovers, a fumble and a pick 6. Not looking good for Spencer Rattler, man, to be honest with you. Not looking good. But he can definitely kind of change the game when things kind of move along for this upcoming game. If he steps up and have a better performance, he may be able to change his standing here. But it ain't looking good for the home team, I promise you that. All right, shout out to you guys and shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel, who is FanDuel Sportsbook. This is the betting odds right here, plus 200, plus 240, plus 310, plus 330. Get at FanDuel Sportsbook. Get all your bets in, man, on the NFL season. It's going to be packed. It's going down, man, and you can get you some bread there at FanDuel Sportsbook. Bet responsibly. And also, man, listen, man, big ups. What's up? Shout out to B-Rock, man. What's up, my boy? Shout out to you. And who that to you? Appreciate you. Yeah, Dr. Gray says, Dr. Gregory says, I agree 200% with your position. Q estimates body of work should soundly put him. And no doubt, Dr. Gray, no doubt about it. And this is the thing about Audric Estime. He won a lot of people all over last year, how he performed as a 4th and 5th string runner. He really won a lot of people over because he's 5'11". He about 230 pounds. He's almost in the same mode. He's definitely the same style of runner as Zeus White. So this is a good pickup right here for the Saints. But him going back to, look right here, it shows you here on the status here. Ankle participated in practice. Ross put it out there. This was 4 hours ago. So there you go. Shout out to Ross. But yeah, Audric Estime is a guy that to me picked up, knows what to do. He's a guy that can help out, man. I'm big on Audric Estime. I think that he's going to really help the team moving into this season. He don't fumble. He don't make a lot of mistakes. He good in pass pro. I like Audric Estime, man. You know, he handled business, man. So good. I'm glad we got him back. No doubt about it, man. That was, even though it's small sided, but small blessings, man. I tell you what. But anyway, shout out to you guys, man. That's all I got for y'all today, man. Listen, I'll be back tomorrow. We got a Patreon recapping what we seen on the second preseason matchup with the Saints and the Rams. We'll break that down, look at all the quarterback stuff, all that, the offensive line stuff. That'll be on patreon.com/Pro Media Network for our YouTube and membership family. There's other things up there too. Dozens and dozens, hundreds of shows, locked content available on Patreon and our YouTube package. We've been doing 4 years, man. So if you want to help the platform grow, you see we're growing. Check out patreon.com/Pro Media Network. That'll help us out, develop, and keep on going, doing what we're doing. Also, feel free to join our newsletter at our website at whothatdaily.com. There's always articles coming out. We are a news operation, fam, more than just some YouTube stuff going on there. We're across several platforms, headquarters site, multiple news items as well, covering Saints, Pelicans, all this kind of stuff, man. And it's because of the mighty Who Dat Nation support, we're able to grow and grow and grow and grow every year to let the family members know that their donations is going towards something and building something special, man. And we forever going to represent the mighty Who Dat Nation, represent you in the most professional manner that I could possibly represent the Who Dat Nation, because it is real deal to me in the field. So listen, I appreciate that. Much love to all of the family members, Patreon, YouTube membership family that support the show. Much love and thank you, baby. Appreciate you guys. So with that being said, I'm going to cut out on that. I'll be back tomorrow with another stream, man, and we'll talk about some more good Saint news. With that much, I'm going to holler at you later. Much love. Peace. Who that say?
Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that?
Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thewhodatdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thewhodatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.